I've been putting this off for quite some time because, well, I am pretty nervous to start this. I have attempted a YouTube channel a plethora of times in the past, and they have all failed. I've burned out on all of them, and you can see the past channels all up online. Lots of on a boat iterations, one Gen Z daddy, one on a run, a couple more in between, somewhere like that. I can choose for it to be embarrassing, or I can choose for it to be a stepping stone in the right direction and get me somewhere new. I'm trying to learn that consistency in the short term is not as good as consistency in the long term. If I do something weekly instead of daily, but that weekly turns into years instead of daily into a month, it'll be better. So here I am, starting again, doing something that I've wanted to do forever. I wanted to start this channel because I had a podcast a few months ago, and it was a weekly update, and my favorite thing about it was I would talk about my life for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and the other person would listen, and it felt like a time capsule on my life at that point in time, and it was great because then you could archive it and go back to it later. And I'm just interested to see, what if I do that on my own anyone without needing anyone else. So here I am, taking it upon myself to do something that I will be able to do alone for indefinite amount of time. So chapter 28, section, I don't know exactly. I believe when I looked it up on ChatGPT, I was on week 23 or 24 of my life. I'm almost exactly 28 and a half, but this is what's going on in my life, and this is what this channel's going to look like. It's going to be weekly life updates. Hopefully, I'll get a little more confident behind the mic, but for now, we ball. And let's hop right into it. So, this week I have been, God, it feels tough talking about, which I guess is a good thing, but there's this girl. Let's call her K-Girl, right? Her name starts with K, so we can call her K-Girl. I've seen her for about a month now, and I'm wrestling with the idea of allowing myself to become closer. It's something I'm very insecure about based on what I've seen in relationships in the past. We've hung out probably like 3 to 4 times a week for the last month, and it feels pretty good. We text each day, but there's something that's still blocking me from really, really becoming attached. And I think that could just be the time that we've known each other, because it really hasn't been that long yet. And also, I know it is what I see around me when it comes to relationships. There's a lot of relationships I see where people are unhappy, where things don't go the way as planned, where they end bad. And I don't know if I want to sign myself up for that, because I live a very comfortable life that I'm chill with. But I know at the end of the day, I do want a partner. So I'm trying to wrestle with the deepening feelings of attachment, you could say. Also, so I've never really been a person to watch sports or anything, but the hockey playoffs are going on, and hometown is almost hometown. It's pretty close to my hometown, but not quite. But let's call them the home team, the Buffalo Sabres, right? They're doing good. So they just won their game 6. They're pushing it into, I wouldn't say overtime because it's standard, but they're pushing it into the last game. So because it's the best of 7. And it's just fun to watch, fun to talk about, and it feels good to just, I've never been the type of guy to talk sports, but it just feels good to know a little bit about sports, because that is something so mainstream for so many guys. Like, I go into my work and every single dude knows something about football, hockey, baseball. They know something. And I've never known anything about much. In fact, my sports is ultra running and chess, and no one really cares about that stuff in my work. But hopefully, building this up, I'll find the people who do care about it, because that's something else I want to talk about. I'm the biggest runner. I absolutely love to run. I have a 10K in less than an hour that I have to get to, and I'm pumped for it. It's fun. I have a spring marathon that I'm doing next week that's also in the hometown. That's not quite hometown. That's the closest to my hometown, in Buffalo, and that's so exciting. I can't wait. I'm going to try to PR that. We'll see how that goes. But I'm getting ready. My weekly mileage is between 50 and 60. Like last week, I touched 58, and the week before I touched 52 or 53. So my mileage is pretty high for just a regular old marathon, and I'm so excited to tackle it. I hope the weather is good. It seems to be that it's going to start off in like the high 50s, low 60s, and climb to 70, and it allegedly says that it's going to be cloudy. So we'll see how that goes. I'm nervous. I'm excited. I'm everything in between, because I've done running a marathon a few times now. In fact, I've done the distance 3 times. But knowing that you have a day looming ahead of you where you're going to have to run 26.2 miles is never an easy feeling. Like, I know I can do it, and I know I will do it. But am I going to make it out on the other side all right? I definitely will. But it's intense knowing that that's lies ahead of you. And I'm sure anyone who does these kind of races will know the same thing. But that's what I got planned ahead. I'm getting ready for that. Not really trying to taper, because this isn't even like the longest race I'm going to do in the year. So I'm more so treating it as like a long run. But I'm just getting ready for it mentally by just telling myself over and over again, I've done this. You got this. 26.2 miles is nothing. I mean, it is something, but it's something I can do. So there's that. I know I'm rushing through each topic fairly quickly. In fact, I kind of expected it to take a lot longer, but you know, sometimes things don't go exactly the way you planned the first time. So we're already on the last bullet. At my work, I am a mailman. A painfully average job and a painfully average paying job. At work, I'm being asked to come on the management side as well as go on the union side. So I'm being pulled in both directions. And it's a little intimidating, because while I've never really thought of myself as a confident person, as someone who can do well in confrontation and arguments, so I know as a union person, I would be like the representative of the carriers, because I am a letter carrier. I know as a union person, I would grow a lot if I took that opportunity. I would grow a ton, because I would be in the office with management, talking, debating, interpreting the contract that we have. But I wouldn't get paid too much more. In fact, the only upside of going union would be that I wouldn't have to pay my union dues. They would just reimburse me for it. So I would actually still pay it, but then at the end of 6 months, they would just reimburse me all in one lump sum. So it's interesting. Like, I know if I become that union steward, I know I would get a better understanding of the contract, and I think it would help me out personally a lot more. But then you have the argument of, oh, I could go management, because my bosses pulled me aside and they were like, whenever you want to move on up or do something different, you let us know. And they told me the starting pay almost nearly doubled the starting pay that I'm on right now. I don't think there'd be as much confrontation, which is a nice thing. I don't know if that's stunting my personal growth, though, because I know I'm supposed to probably think about the bigger picture and be like, what's going to help me more personally instead of financially. But I'm trying to be as raw and authentic here as possible. Like, this is stuff that we all think about when making a decision. What you want to be, ideally, versus where the money takes you. And oh god, it's a terrible look on my end to be like, I'm a sellout for the money, because I really never thought of myself as someone that would do that. But they told me that I could do a position, and they would potentially train me for a position where I could move around to different offices and do route inspections and help adjust routes that way. Because one of the biggest reasons I've neglected becoming a boss was I hate the idea of being inside talking to customers who are upset all day. That is one of the biggest drives of being a carrier, is I'm outside just diddy-daddling around, enjoying, you know, the days that it rains, unfortunately, but also the days that it's like 60 and sunny. So when they brought up the opportunity to train for that, I'm like, that's a really cool idea, because I would love to just like be shipped out to like some place like 2 hours away, stay in a hotel, find some like enjoy a new area, do a route adjustment, and then go home. Like, that sounds pretty dope to me. But that is the life update. It feels really good to get that off my chest. If no one listens, that's cool. If this somehow turns out to be viral, that's cool too, but go easy. This is your boy's first podcast video type thing, and I hope to do a lot more in the future. I guess I'll ramble on a little bit more. I wanted to name this channel On a Boat because ever since I was 13, On a Boat was my Xbox Live gamer tag, and I've tried a lot of other YouTube channel names in the past, like On a Run, On a Chessboard, Gen Z Daddy, Command Badge, and they all feel good, but On a Boat really feels like me, and I want this channel because it's literally all about me and my life to really feel like me. So we're going out as On a Boat. I even put the little nickname Boaty because I used to get called that by one of my long-term Xbox friends, and that's that. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully there will be more to come, and I'll see you next time.